Was 50 500-foot wind turbines spread across 5,000, 7,000 acres in Kennedyville.
Yeah.
It really freaked us out.
Or the company had come into the community and approached various farmers as far as getting leases with them. That's as much publicity as it was, just one-on-one, knock on your door, are you interested? And it really didn't arise to, and no one really knew the scope of the plan. It's just, did you want to put a wind turbine, would you consider putting a wind turbine on your farm? Not indicating that it was going to be 550 feet tall or other implications.
They originally applied to the PJM grid for 129 megawatts, and that was scaled down to in the final proposal to 99 megawatts. So
they want to use up that 99 megawatts that they bought.
Okay.
So that's why they're trying to get in now with solar. And then we're thinking that after they get the solar, then they're going to be able to go with the wind. Once they crack our armor and get the huge solar field in, then they'll make up the difference with the leases that they currently have and put in the wind.
Wind will be phase 2. Phase 1
I see.
is solar.
Right.
Phase 2 is wind. If they get the solar, they get to install their million or multi-million-dollar substation that will allow them to process the power from the wind turbines, the leases for which they already have. They are only applying for a 60 megawatt solar facility. They'll have 39 megawatts left, and they have probably enough leases to build wind turbines to fill out the rest of the 99 that they have permission for from the big power grid that serves Maryland, Jersey, and Maryland, which is what PJM stands for.
They are a company, if you look at their history, they have gone into community after community after community with these relatively small projects. Remember that many of these projects that are put through the Midwest are 200, 300, 400 megawatt projects. They're huge projects. And this is relatively small. And that's what they do. And they meet resistance, and they're trying to get up close and personal into communities where they are going to be right next to people. You know, if you look at Texas, if you look at North Dakota, there's no population there, you know. There's a few scattered, but you get in here, and you know you would have had homes bordering on these, you know, and they've done it in other communities. So, you know, there's federal tax incentives, there's mandates, renewable energy mandates in states. You know, there's a big push around getting this to happen.
Well, they're essentially hedge funds, so they don't make money off the wind. They flip it, and they make money off the tax credits and things like that. So they don't even care if it's completed. They'll just get it started. Then they'll sell it to some other company and some other company and some other company. And, you know, by the end it could be owned by a Chinese company. We have no idea. No.
The whole process lacks the ability for anybody that is in the public to understand what the procedure is.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how many times they repeat to us that this is a transparent project, transparent system.
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah.
We are 2 years into this, and we still do not understand the system under which we are living. We still don't know where to go. We don't know how to get what we need. It is not transparent, and the PSC, it is clear to us that is an agency that lives in their own little bubble. There's the PPRP, which is the Power Plant Research Program. There is the Office of the People's Counsel. There is the staff attorneys for the PSC, and there's the applicant. All of those guys work together all of the time. They all know each other by their first name. The judges know all of them. There's about 4 or 5 public utility law judges. They all know each other. And all the attorneys that are for the applicants in this energy are all before the PSC all the time. And none of them are available for the general public in terms of being represented by them. Because if they did that, they would lose their money clients, which are the energies, whether it's gas, oil, pipeline, wind, transmission lines,
Solar.
You name it. There's nothing wrong with wind if it's sited in the correct places. And there is no policy either in Maryland or in the United States, not through Fish and Wildlife, not through anyone, that is siting these correctly. It shouldn't be close to people. It is definitely not it's adverse to bats particularly and birds. There is no policies that govern how this goes forward. For people who live in Chestertown, the Clark Farm, which is between Morganette Creek and Chestertown, is under a lease right now, all 400 plus acres, to be completely covered in solar panels, the gateway to Chestertown. And it's not just a rumor, it's actually listed in the PJMQ. They have already gotten 75 megawatts from PJM to build that solar right there. So this is not just happening out somewhere on those farms that we don't really care about.
Is that Cromwell?
I'm not.
So currently, the county has filed a motion that we do not believe that the Public Service Commission can preempt local zoning ordinances. And currently the PSC thinks that they have the right to preempt local zoning. So if preemption battle, then that Clark property, there's no firewall. That goes, anything else can go. The only limit would be the transmission lines, which can be upgraded at our cost. So we believe that the Kent County land ordinances should supersede this Public Service Commission mandate. And
Mako, which is Maryland counties, has said that the zoning for the counties should be supreme.
Yeah.
The Farm Bureau has said the same thing. Maryland and Kent, Eastern Shore Land Conservancy, Queen Anne's County has signed on. Talbot has a moratorium that they think it would work, but not.
Yeah.
We don't want to discourage them from doing that. And the Thousand Friends have all said the county's right for zoning should be upheld, because this county has not precluded a project from going forward. We have 2 solar projects in appropriately zoned project that have been gone through the planning and zoning, that are before the PSC. And if one of the companies hadn't objected to upholding the Forest Conservation Act, they would have already been building by now.
Maryland actually pioneered this kind of legislation. Many states have it, where they gave this preemption authority to the state, because at the time, in the era of public utilities, it was they were building these massive, small footprint but massive generators, and they were having to put in these transmission lines. And so they said, well, for the good of the system and for the good of producing power for our economy and all the other good things that go with having power for our society, we're going to have to be able to moderate the zoning that might happen in one county or another, or one jurisdiction or another. Okay, so they gave that power to the PSC. Move into the deregulation era of the 1990s, and they changed the rules, but they didn't change that part of the old rules. And so now you've got these renewable companies, private companies, not public utilities, coming in and trying to build smaller but within one jurisdiction. They very rarely cross into 2 different jurisdictions. They're not building wires. That's all taken care of by Delmarva, Choptank, or somebody else. But what they are doing is that they're trying to claim the power of preemption to overcome the local zoning. In the meantime, all of the planning ability that used to exist with the Maryland DNR and the other agencies that do all this environmental reviewing is gone. So who's left to do the planning? The folks at the local level. Kent County has some of the best planning in the country. They take account of cumulative impacts, environmental impacts, economic impacts, preserving the critical mass of our farming economy. They're thinking about all those things when they're doing the zoning and the planning to allow this stuff to take place. So we've said, yeah, we can take a little of it, but we have not said that we can give up all of our farmland for this.
Not one single renewable energy project in the state of Maryland has ever been placed by any company that violated the county's zoning regulations. There was 1,000 acres in Somerset that was under special exemption. The commissioners down there voted for it. The wind turbines in Garrett County went through. As a matter of fact, most of those didn't even have to go through the process. They were under 70 megawatts. County decided they wanted it. Queen Anne's, they've not turned down any projects. They've all passed. They've all been able to go through. This is the first time that this is happening.
Yeah.
We've been at the PSC now
Since June 22nd.
Yeah, we're on first name basis.
Yes, we're now on first
We're
name
on
basis.
first name basis with the judges too.
The court opened its doors to this process on June 22nd with a public hearing, and we had a wonderful turnout from the community. A lot of very strong statements in favor of our position, and then we had a couple of days of court hearings. We had another court hearing on August 29th. We are in the process now of filing rebuttals to each other's briefs. The briefs are done, and the rebuttals are coming in, and will be done with the paperwork next week.
And there's a circuit court case here. Mitch Baum, who's the attorney for the county, you have to become an intervener in the PSC process. So the interveners are the applicant. They're actually the applicant. And then all of those other agencies, the PSC staff, the OPC, which is the Office of the People's Council, and the PPRP, which is the Power Plant Research Project Program. We are interveners. And the county is an intervener. So there's two interveners in this case. Mitch is the attorney for Kent County. He filed a brief in circuit court here in Kent County for judicial relief because at the first hearing we ever had, Mitch and our attorney, Chris Drummond, argued that the PSC did not have jurisdiction and they did not have the ability to preempt. The judge did not do a written ruling, but he gave a verbal ruling that he didn't agree. Right after that, Mitch filed a petition for judicial relief. The applicant had filed, after that, a motion to dismiss. And on Friday, the motion to dismiss is being heard at 9:30 in the circuit court here in Kent County. It's being based on the fact that it's premature because no ruling has come forward. So
I see.
There is no model for this.
Right.
Every day we wake up and we think of something we hadn't thought of.
it's a
And
case
we-
of first impression.
Yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely is.
And